Reigondo Cave, Kumamoto, Japan, May 1645. An aging swordsman sits alone in the stone chamber where he has spent the final months of his life. His name is Miyamoto Musashi. He is 61 years old. In 1 week, he will be dead. Before him lies a single sheet of paper. He picks up his brush and begins to write 21 short principles. No preamble, no explanation. Just stark instructions for how to live when you walk alone. He titles the document Dokkodo, the way of walking alone. When he finishes, he hands it to his disciple, Terao Maganojo. It is the last teaching Musashi will ever give. This is not a manual for combat. Musashi has already written that. The Book of Five Rings, completed 2 years earlier, contains his strategy for swordsmanship and warfare. The Dokkodo contains none of that. It is something else entirely. It is a spiritual will, a set of instructions for internal mastery, written by a man who has abandoned violence and now faces the only opponent no technique can defeat, his own mortality. The principles are short. Most are a single sentence. All of them begin with a negation. Do not do this. Do not seek that. Do not be moved by this emotion. They are not commandments to add burdens. They are designed to strip away illusions, to remove the mental friction that prevents a person from seeing reality as it actually is. The document is a distillation of a life spent walking alone. Musashi was a ronin, a masterless samurai. He had no lord to serve, no clan to protect him, no structure to lean on. He survived over 60 duels, most of them to the death. He lived through the unification of Japan under the Tokugawa shogunate, a period when the old warrior class was being systematically dismantled. By the time he wrote the Dokkodo, the world he had known was gone. The age of the wandering swordsman was over, and Musashi, having outlived his era, chose to spend his final years in a cave, painting and writing. The 21 principles he left behind are not tactical, they are philosophical. And they rest on 3 core themes: self-discipline, mindfulness, and detachment. The first principle is this: accept everything just the way it is. Musashi is not asking for passive resignation. He is identifying the gap between expectation and reality as the primary source of human suffering. When you impose a mental model onto the world, and the world does not comply, you experience frustration. The frustration is not caused by the world, it is caused by the gap. Musashi's instruction is to close the gap. See what is actually there, not what you wish were there, not what should be there, what is there. This does not mean you cannot act to change circumstances. It means you must first see them clearly. The second principle warns against seeking pleasure for its own sake. Musashi understood the mechanics of craving. Pleasure pursued as an end creates a cycle. You experience it, it fades, you seek it again. The seeking becomes compulsive, the satisfaction becomes shorter. The craving becomes the dominant feature of your mental landscape. Musashi's instruction is to break the cycle by refusing to chase pleasure as a goal. This does not mean rejecting all enjoyment. It means not organizing your life around the pursuit of dopamine. The third principle addresses decision-making. Do not let yourself be guided by feeling alone. Musashi distinguishes between partial emotions and deep understanding. A partial emotion is the immediate reaction: anger, fear, excitement, lust. These are real, but they are incomplete. They represent one slice of the situation. Musashi's instruction is to pause. Wait until the impulse cools. Let the full picture emerge. Then decide. This is not about suppressing emotion. It is about not letting a single emotional signal override all other information. The fourth principle inverts the usual priority. Think lightly of yourself and deeply of the world. This is a direct attack on ego, the tendency to place yourself at the center of every evaluation, to interpret every event as a reflection of your worth, to treat your preferences as universal principles. Musashi's instruction is to reverse the weighting. Treat your own importance as negligible. Treat the world as the object of serious study. This creates humility, It also creates better decisions because you are no longer distorting the evidence to protect your self-image. The fifth principle is a lifetime commitment. Be detached from desire your whole life long. Musashi is not advocating for the elimination of goals. He is advocating for the elimination of attachment to outcomes. Desire, when it becomes attachment, creates suffering. You want something. You do not get it, you suffer. You get it, it does not satisfy you. You suffer. Musashi's instruction is to act without clinging to the result. This is one of the hardest principles to implement, and Musashi knew it. That is why he specifies your whole life long. It is not a one-time decision. It is a daily practice. The sixth principle forbids regret. Do not regret what you have done. Musashi is not saying you should avoid learning from mistakes. He is saying you should not emotionally punish yourself for past actions. Extract the lesson, adjust the behavior, move forward. Regret is a form of mental imprisonment. You are locked in a past you cannot change, replaying events that are over, punishing yourself for decisions made with the information you had at the time. Musashi's instruction is to break the loop. The past is data. Use it. Do not live in it. The seventh principle targets jealousy. Never be jealous. Musashi viewed envy as a distraction from personal growth. When you focus on what someone else has, you stop focusing on what you are building. Jealousy is also a form of resentment. You are angry that someone else has something you do not. This anger accomplishes nothing. Musashi's instruction is to convert the signal. If you notice envy, treat it as information. It tells you what you value. Now, go build it yourself. The eighth principle addresses separation. Never be saddened by a separation. Musashi is describing impermanence. People leave, relationships end, loved ones die. This is the structure of reality. Sadness at separation is natural, but clinging to it is a refusal to accept impermanence. Musashi's instruction is to let go, not because you do not care, but because holding on to what is gone prevents you from engaging with what is here. The ninth principle bans complaint. Resentment and complaint are appropriate neither for oneself nor others. Musashi believed complaining was a total waste of energy. It does not solve the problem. It does not make you feel better. It trains your mind to focus on grievance. Musashi's instruction is to replace every complaint with a concrete next step. If the situation can be changed, change it. If it cannot, accept it, but do not vent. The 10th principle concerns romantic attachment. Do not let yourself be guided by the feeling of lust or love. Musashi is not advocating for celibacy or isolation. He is warning against surrendering your agency to infatuation. When you let desire for another person dictate your decisions, you lose the ability to see clearly. You make choices to please them. You compromise your principles to keep them. You become dependent. Musashi's instruction is to maintain your independence even in relationships. The 11th principle is radical openness. In all things, have no preferences. Musashi is describing strategic flexibility. When you have rigid preferences, you become brittle. Plans change, circumstances shift. If you are attached to a specific outcome or method, you suffer when it becomes unavailable. Musashi's instruction is to remain adaptable. This does not mean you have no standards. It means you do not cling to one path when another will work. The 12th principle addresses location. Be indifferent to where you live. Musashi believed that inner stability should be independent of external circumstances. If your peace depends on being in a specific place, you do not actually have peace. You have a favorable environment. Musashi's instruction is to build a mind that is stable anywhere. This is the mindset of a Ronin. No fixed home, no guaranteed safety. Stability comes from within. The 13th principle targets food. Do not pursue the taste of good food. Musashi is not advocating for starvation or joyless eating. He is warning against turning food into entertainment. When you chase gourmet experiences, you train your mind to seek pleasure from consumption. Musashi's instruction is to eat for nourishment. Enjoy what you eat, but do not organize your life around culinary indulgence. The 15th principle rejects social conformity. Do not follow customary beliefs. Musashi is telling you to think from first principles. Customs are inherited. They may have been useful once. They may no longer apply. If you follow them without questioning, you are outsourcing your judgment. Musashi's instruction is to evaluate every norm yourself. Keep what works, discard what does not. The 16th principle repeats the jealousy warning with a different emphasis. Never be jealous. Musashi understood that another person's success does not diminish your worth. There is no fixed amount of achievement in the world. Someone else winning does not mean you lose. Musashi's instruction is to focus on your own path. The 17th principle forbids anger. Never hold on to resentment. Musashi is not saying you cannot feel anger. He is saying you should not store it. Anger is a signal. It tells you something is wrong. Address the problem or let the signal go. Holding on to resentment is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die. Musashi's instruction is to choose your response. The 18th principle enforces equality. Do not act following customary beliefs. Musashi taught that all beings are equal in fundamental worth. Titles and ranks are social constructs. They do not reflect actual superiority. Musashi's instruction is to approach every person with humility, regardless of their position. The 19th principle rejects status. Never be attached to a particular way of life. Musashi viewed job titles and social positions as external illusions. Your worth lies in your character and your skills, not in the label others assign you. Musashi's instruction is to detach from status. The 20th principle uses mortality as fuel. Do not hold on to possessions you no longer need. Musashi accepted that time is limited. Death is certain. This is not meant to create fear. It is meant to sharpen focus. Every moment is precious because there are only so many. Musashi's instruction is to live as if your days are numbered, because they are. The 21st principle is a commitment. Do not ever stray from the way. Musashi understood that philosophy only exists through practice. The principles are not meant to be read once and admired. They are meant to be applied daily. Musashi's instruction is to stay on the path. Not because it is easy, but because it is the path. The Dokkodo is not a rule book. It is a set of tools for removing obstacles. Each principle targets a specific form of mental friction: expectation, craving, impulsiveness, ego, attachment, regret, jealousy, complaint, dependency, rigidity, anger, status obsession, fear of death. Musashi spent his life walking alone. He had no master to guide him. No structure to rely on, no safety net. He survived by seeing reality clearly and acting without hesitation. The Dokkodo is the result of that life. It is not speculation. It is a field manual written by someone who tested every principle under conditions where failure meant death. 1 week after writing it, Musashi died in the cave. His body was buried according to his wishes. The Dokkodo was passed to his student. It has survived for nearly 4 centuries. The principles have not aged. They describe the mechanics of the human mind, and those mechanics have not changed. The world Musashi lived in is gone. The samurai class is gone. The duels are gone. But the internal battles he describes are still being fought. The gap between expectation and reality, the cycle of craving, the tyranny of impulse, the weight of regret. These are not historical problems. They are structural problems. And the Dokkodo offers a structural solution. Accept what is. Do not chase pleasure. Pause before you decide. Think deeply of the world. Detach from outcomes. Do not regret. Do not envy. Do not cling. Do not complain. Do not surrender your agency. Have no rigid preferences. Be stable anywhere. Eat to live. Think for yourself. Ignore status. Accept death. Stay on the path. 21 principles, written in 1 week by a man who knew he was dying. This is the way of walking alone.